Right.
All right. The day is September 16th, 2020, 5:35 p.m. Everyone in here, Kyle DeSantis, Perry Verino, Mike Rosenko, Lucas Bertone, Andrew DeStefano. Mr. DeStefano, if you would like to say your branch of service, what your rank was, and where you served.
My name is Andrew DeStefano. I was in the United States Army from 1983 to 1986. I ETS'd, or I left the service as a sergeant. I then joined the Army Reserve in 1990, and I was in the reserve until 1996. I served in Germany. I traveled quite a bit from Fort Bragg, North Carolina, and I was in Operation Desert Shield and Storm in Saudi Arabia and Kuwait.
Lucas, you could go ahead with section 1.
All right. Were you drafted or did you enlist?
No, I enlisted.
Where were you living at the time?
Sorry?
Where were you living at the time?
Oh, I was living in Bronx, New York.
Why did you join?
I joined because when I went, I graduated from St. Raymond's High School for Boys in 1982.
So did I.
Did you really?
Yep, I grew up in the Bronx.
There you go. And I wasn't very serious about school, so my grades were okay, and I did graduate, but I needed to grow up a bit. I felt that the Army was a good fit for me, and I wanted to serve my country at the same time. So I joined the Army for first for 2 years and extended 1 year. So I got money for college, and I was able to serve and travel. So it was a good decision.
Do you recall your first days in service?
Yes, I do.
What were they like?
Well, when you first get there, I first arrived at Fort Benning in January of 1983, and it's an eye opener because the first thing you realize is that you're awake all day, all evening, all night, and then into the next day. So you're not getting any sleep that first night. You're up all night, and that's intentional because that's made to. They try to recreate the feeling of chaos, because combat is chaos. So they try to recreate exhaustion and chaos and those types of effects. So, but being from the Bronx, I think pretty well prepared for it.
All right. Let's see. Tell me about your boot camp and training.
Basic training was in Fort Benning, Georgia. In the Army, depending upon your military occupational specialty, or MOS, that's where they send you. So for the Army, I was in the infantry. I was an 11 Charlie, which is a mortarman / rifleman. And that was down in Fort Benning. That was 13 and a half weeks. And then from there, I went to airborne school. Same thing, Fort Benning. I went right from basic training to the other side of the base to jump school, which was actually easier for me. Jump school is very tough. You lose, they start out with about 700 guys, and after about 4 weeks, they're down to about maybe 550. You lose a lot of people in that school.
All right. Move on to segment 2.
I'm sorry?
Wow. All right. When and where did you serve?
Well, I served initially, basic training was January of 1983. until I believe April of 1983. That was in Fort Benning, Georgia. And then airborne school was about an additional 5 weeks. That was also at Fort Benning, Georgia. I was stationed at Fort Bragg, North Carolina, and my unit came down on what's called a levy, and we were sent to Germany for about a year, and then came back from there in 1985 and was in Fort Bragg an additional year until 1986. Fort Bragg's in North Carolina.
All right. Do you remember what arriving and what it was like?
In Germany?
Yeah.
It was like, at first it was a culture shock, but then I realized not really, because there was so many Americans over there. And, you know, wherever America goes, they bring America with it. And so it was a little bit of a culture shock, but it was very quick to adjust.
What was your, did you see combat?
Yes. And initially, yes. In 1983, we did.
Tell me about a couple of your most memorable experiences.
I remember still being very young, 1983, and we're being notified that the United States is going to go into a Caribbean island called Grenada to rescue American students that had been kind of trapped there. There had been no notice at all. We had never even heard of that place, that island. I still don't know much about it. And it was a lot different than today. When they first, I saw guys, you know, commanders going in and out of meetings, and there was meetings going on all night. Then I knew something was going on. And then they put the military police. There was no cell phones back then. They put military police by the payphones, so nobody can make any phone calls. Because they didn't want anybody to, you know, spill the beans as to what was going on. And that was very eye-opening. I was 18 years of age, and being in shooting. That lasted about 2 weeks.
Did you support the UK during that time, or did the US forces support the United Kingdom in Grenada, or was it just to get the Americans out of there?
No, I didn't see any British troops there.
No British troops. Okay.
Yeah. No, there was just there was a medical school there.
Okay.
With 2 campuses.
Okay.
And that was the point, to get them safely evacuated back to I think they went to Puerto Rico initially.
Okay.
Were you awarded any medals or citations?
Yes, I don't remember at the time, you know what the designations were, but they involved you know, being in hostile fire theater, being under hostile fire, things like that. I forget the actual names that they gave at that time.
All right. Let's see. What was your job or your assignment?
I was in 11 Charlie, which is a mortarman, which is infantry.
All right, Mikey, you could start with segments 3 and 4.
So can I just jump in before you go into, you also said you went back into the reserve, right? And so were you in combat in Desert Shield and Desert Storm?
Yeah, well, for as long as it lasted, not as direct, because even though I was an infantryman, we were in a reserve unit, so they plugged us into active duty units, so we were kind of like in a more of a support role in Desert Storm.
Okay.
But we did go north with them. Yes, I mean everybody goes together.
Okay. Okay, Mike.
So, how did you stand with your family when you were out and serving in the army?
Well, when I was 18, it was just basically my parents and brothers and sisters and stuff like that. So it wasn't really that difficult, to pack up and go. I think the married guys with kids have it much harder today when they pack up and go, especially the reserves. But when I first joined at 18, it was just single, no kids. So.
Okay. What was the food? Like, how was the food when you were serving the army?
I thought the food was great. I was really surprised. I thought, you see things on TV and you hear stories, but when I got there, I mean, I was really surprised how good it was. It was just food. In fact, when I was in basic training, all you do all day is work out, but I gained almost 40 pounds. But it was all, it was muscle. I went in very skinny, so I gained like 40 pounds.
Where did you travel when you were in service?
In Germany?
Well, wherever, I guess. I guess you could say when you're in Germany.
Yeah, well, when I first went to the military, like I said, I went to Georgia, but there wasn't any traveling. That was just basic training. And then from there, I was down in North Carolina. Then when they shipped us we went on a levy to Germany. Germany, at the time, Germany was two countries. Today, it's one country. Back then, you had West Germany and East Germany, and the United States controlled West Germany. So when I was in West Germany, I used to take weekend trips all the time. I used to go to Ireland. I used to go to Switzerland. I went to I went to France. And then training with the Army, we went to Italy and some other places, for a few days at a time. So it was very nice.
Okay. And then segment 4. Do you recall the day your service ended?
Yes, I do. It was in January of 1985. That was the first time around I'm sorry, 86, when I came off of active duty.
Did you go and when you left, did you go back to school, or did you go back to work?
No, as soon as I came back, within a couple of weeks, within about 2 weeks, I was in college. And that was probably a bigger shock for me than going off to the military. I went to when I was away, I had already applied to go to Manhattan College in the Bronx. So when I got back, there was a seat waiting for me.
And did you join any veterans like veteran organizations?
Yes, I actually have a meeting tonight. I belong to the VFW, which is the Veterans of Foreign Wars, and I belong to the American Legion.
Okay. And I think that's it, right? Yeah.
All right, got a couple few questions to kind of wrap everything up. So, what did you go on to do as a career after war, after serving?
After I served and after I graduated college, I went on to the New York City Police Department.
How have your services and your experiences affected your life?
It brought an appreciation for life. It made me proud to serve. I was very mature when I went off to the military, and I came back a lot more mature. That's a great thing, because I needed that.
And the final question I have is there anything else that you would like to add that we have not covered already in this interview?
No, it's been pretty comprehensive.